Hi, this is Peggy with Sweet Tea Makery, and welcome to my channel. On my channel, you're going to learn how to paint, decorate, and craft your way to a beautiful home for all seasons. Now, if you like crafting and home decor as much as I do, then you'll want to hit that red subscribe button, and also be sure to hit the bell, because the bell is going to notify you the next time I go live or when I upload new content for you to see, new fun projects to do. So thanks a bunch for joining me, and we're going to get started on this project. So today's project is how to make or enhance or upcycle home decor signs for Christmas, or if your sign is a fall project, then it would be a fall project. So what I've done is taken a sign, metal sign, and we've punched holes in either side of the metal sign, and then we've added some embellishments. Now this one's not quite finished because I wanted you to see how you can use it in many different ways. So I mean, as far as making the project. So here we've added some natural beads. There's nothing been done with them. I found some cute little jingle bells that actually have a little snowflake hole there, and then I've just enhanced it with some ribbon. So you can certainly do this project like this, but we're going to change it up a little bit for today's tutorial. So some of the items that you're going to need is either a metal or a wooden sign. You can certainly do this with a wooden sign as well. It's whatever one you choose. And you can use jute to string the beads, or for my project, I'm using this metal wire. And some of the other things that you're going to definitely have to have on hand is I use these. These are cute little cups. You can get them, I think, from Sam's Club, other places. But they're just the little snap-on clear plastic ones. I use these when I'm doing a smaller project. You can certainly use a larger container. I use plastic. You can use whatever you have on hand. But I use the smaller plastic ones. And of course, some beads in different sizes. And your craft paint. I chose these colors because these match the colors that are in my sign. You can use metallic. I just chose the red, black, and white. You'll need some pliers, as well as a wire cutter, and of course scissors for your ribbon if you're going to trim it off with ribbon. And what I like to do, you're going to have a small amount of water. So I like this little dropper. You can pick these again up at any craft store. I like to use this to draw my water for the paint, because it gives me a little more control. And I always have on hand my little handy sander block, so just in case I need it. Paper towel, and I think that's pretty much it, other than this one item I'm going to show you. So it's nothing fancy, but because I'm painting and we need a place to dry the wooden balls once we paint them. So I just took a shoebox, my husband's old shoebox. I went on either side and cut a V into it, and on both sides, as you can see. And so when I paint the wooden balls, I can put them on wooden skewers, which is another item. These are the longer size. I would say they are, I'll measure them. This size is a 12-inch length. And so you'll need, one for each one, and one just to keep on hand, just in case you need it. So what I've done is I left this side of the sign. I didn't twist it so we could take that off and work on this project. So I'm going to tilt you down now, and we're going to paint our wooden balls to match the sign that is, sorry guys, I got this loose here. All right, let's see. So this one, you can actually leave that on there if you want, but as far as, you don't have to add a ribbon to it. But these are very simple to get off as, there we go, just gotta twist it around. So I'm going to put that to the side, and then I'm just gonna pull that wire. I'm gonna take my bowl, see if I can get you a better angle. There we go. So I'm gonna take my bowl so that when the beads come off, that they go in this bowl. And we're just gonna pull them off just so that it gets in there. And I went ahead and pre-counted the number of wooden balls that you need. It's gonna matter as to how big your sign is, and how far you want the handle to go. So what I first did was after I strung my beads, once the kind that I wanted when I used natural, then there's a tiny little hole right here that was punched with a metal hole punch. And some signs come with them already pre-done, and then you can see where the wire can go up through there. So this one I'm gonna leave as is, and it's just a bell, and I'll show you on the other side how to do this one. But it's just a cute little bell. I thought you could enhance it with that. And we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a natural ball for the very first one. And the reason why is because when I use the painted ones, using a natural one first will kind of give it a little break between the sign and the and where the beads start, so you can actually see the accent pieces. So before we finish this, we're going to paint the wooden balls so that you can see how to easily paint them. I'm gonna show you one example. So I'm gonna use a fresh stick. So what I do, and we're gonna try white. So I've already done some. So I'm going to show you now how to do one from scratch and how I make them. So I'm gonna use white, and I'm gonna take my cup, and of course you wanna shake your paint up as good as you can. And then I use about a dime size to a quarter size. Now I'm only doing one or two small balls in there. You can actually do 3 if you want. But again, if you're doing a larger project that has a lot more beads to it, you'll want to use a bigger container. But this one works perfect for me. It has lids so I can keep the paint somewhat without drying out, or I can come back and add water, and if it spills, it's not going to be that big of a concern. So what I normally do is take about that much, which is basically, and it's a very thin layer, it's about a dime to a quarter size, and then I take about that much water, if you can see that. I do 3 of these, and I just drop them into the container, and you can add more. It's always easy to add more. And what we want to do is thin that paint out. Now you can paint them solid with a brush, that's no big deal. And whatever you choose. But I like to thin it out because I like a little bit of that wood grain to come through. So I'm just going to stir this up. And I have a handy paper towel that I keep on hand for drying things off. And you can use the end of your paintbrush if you want, whatever you have on hand. So once we get that mixed, I'm just going to show you one, but you can do more than one. So we're going to take one of the wooden balls, I'll just grab this one. And we're just going to drop it in there just like that. Now, what I can do is I get it started kind of moving around, and you can use the end of your skewer and toss it around. But you can also, if you're careful, see, we get it nice and coated. And so it's nice and coated like that. Or you can do this, kind of get it to roll around. Whichever method works for you. I use a little bit of both. And I just kind of tap it. The wood will absorb the paint. I kind of just tap it around. And I do this to tap it down, but if you're doing more than one and you're adding more balls, then you just want to scoot it down. So what you'll do is then you will take your box, your shoe box, and you'll lay that down there. Of course, you might have more. You see I have more there. And every now and then, just come by and just twirl it, because the paint will drip down. I layered a little layer of wax paper in the box so that if it drips, these were dry, thank goodness. So if it drips, then it won't seep through the box. But every now and then, you just want to come by so that that water that the paint that pools up there kind of gets around there evenly. And if you're not a patient crafter, sometimes I'm not, depends on how much of a hurry I am, you can actually take a hair dryer and dry them that way. Now, if you were to do that, you would want to, as you're drying it, twirl it around just so that it gets a nice even coating. So that's how you paint them. You can do different colors, whatever color you desire. So what I do later on, even if this gets dry, you can come back and open it up, and generally I can drop more water in it and stir it up, and then you can just use it for several little projects. Just keep adding more paint and more water to it. So we're going to set those to a side. And right now, these are dry, so I'm just going to take them off the skewers. And we'll get the black ones. And they come off fairly easy. I love this method to dry these wooden beads because it's better than some people use the cups. And when I was using that style, I didn't like it too much because it just seemed quite messy to me, and they would drip all over. And this, they stay contained in the box. And then if you can put a paper towel there, you can put I still would put wax paper there. Oops, sorry y'all. I'm a hot mess today. Anyway, I would still put wax paper because it just seems to keep it from leaking down. But you can certainly put another layer of paper towels on there if you so choose. I'm going to set this aside so that it dries, and we can use that for another project. So now we've got our accent beads painted, and we need the 3 of the red, 3 whites, and 3 blacks. And I just worked that pattern out. You can certainly do all the same size, all the same color. You know, it's up to your own personal taste. So again, we're going back to the sign where we've started out. And again, you don't have to start out with a natural one. I just do because it just seems to get lost. That's just my personal preference. So what we need to do now, we're going to take our bowl of beads, and you can have 2 bowls, it doesn't matter. So what I did was I started out, we're going to do this real quick. So I started out with a natural bead, and then I'm going to go with one of the white ones, and then one of the larger black ones, and then the red one, a smaller red one. And I figured out my pattern, which was to have 5 beads in between each of the larger ones so that it comes out evenly. So we'll see if that still works. And let me show you something really quick. So if you feel like you don't want it painted as much, some of them are more transparent than others, you can, and we'll just do that for this purpose. So you can take a sander and kind of go along and sand it down and give it more of a little rustic look. So we're gonna add these beads. And again, I'm using a accent bead with the natural. Count them, that's 3. Make sure that's right. Yep, okay. I hope I got my pattern down right. If it's not exactly right, let's see. You can just readjust it. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So, when I say there's 5 beads, I think I did it where, yeah, okay. So there's 5 beads including the colored beads that we're going to use. And we'll just start this pattern again. We started off with the white. And we're going to string it on there. Get rid of that one. And this is a fairly heavy gauge wire. We'll do a black one. And then a red. And again, we're going to have 5 beads total in between these colored accent ones. So we only need 3 more of the natural. 1, 2, 3. At least I think I have that pattern down right. Maybe I don't. Let's see. I had it where it was going to work out just perfect. Yes, it is. That is right. I can count. So again, we're coming back. We're going to go with the white. I think that's right. Golly, I can't even remember how I'm doing it, y'all. No, I started off with that. So, yep. Happy mistakes. So we actually need to do, well, I'm getting myself confused. So it's white, red, black, natural, 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 white, red, black, natural, 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 and then, sorry. Nobody's perfect crafters. So we're gonna do red. And I'm just doing that. You can do it any way you want, but I just like that this is going to end up being the same pattern on both sides. And then we'll finish it off with the natural. Yes, that works out just perfect the way I want it. Okay, we got that straight. And again, it's your choice on how you want to do this. We're going to lift this up. And there's a tiny little hole right there. And you can use a metal hole punch to punch that up. And so we want to get it where that metal comes up and where the bead sits just on top. And you can just work it back a little bit, back out of the hole, until you find that place. Perfect little place. There we go. And then it presses. I just kind of press it down to kind of hold it in place. And then what I did was I took these little bells. Here's the little bell. And I took some ribbon, and it's just a small, it's non-wired. And I took my fancy little tool. I laugh at this because it's I call it my fancy tool, but it's a toothpick. And if you can use a needle, if you want, and whatever you have on hand. But I just find it's easy to keep toothpicks on hand, and then I just kind of fold it over just a little bit. Pardon my hands from paint, y'all. And then I just push it through. And I kind of just grab it. Now you're going to mess up the end of the ribbon just a little bit, but you can always trim that off. And I just kind of keep working it until I get it up through there. And it'll pull through. Just takes a little bit of effort, see? Just a little bit of effort. And it does mess up the end of the ribbon, but you can just trim that off. No problemo. And I don't tie it yet. I just cut off about how much I won't think I need. We'll just go a little longer because we can always trim it off. About even on both sides. Okay. Set that to the side, and you can still run that wire up through the hole. You still have enough room there. So I just push it through, and you just have to work it around the wire until you get it down the way you want, and kind of just twirl it around. There we go. Okay. So what I did here is I just go ahead, you can tie it now or you can tie it later. It doesn't really make that much difference, but to me, before we do twirl this around, it's easier to me. And I just tie a knot, and it's sitting on there. So that's what we have so far, just so you can see, and you can kind of see how this wire is sticking up. But what I did was I curled the wire just as a little decorative and safety precaution so you don't scratch yourself. So you can take a dowel. This happens to be, actually it's a stick for a candy apple. It was just one I had in my craft box, but you can take a pencil or a regular dowel like this one. I just use this one. It doesn't matter. So what I do, and this again is a heavier gauge wire. So what I do is I just lift it up, and I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to push this ribbon out of the way, and I'm just going to twist it around that dowel. And you can press it if you don't, if you can't press it as hard, you can just use your pliers and pull it all the way around. And then you just remove the dowel. And now you can leave it in any shape or form that you want. I personally like them twisted around. So I take my wire and then I just continue twirling it till I get it to where I want it, to the little shape I want. And I always curl that inward, so, and then we'll press it down some so that you don't tend to scratch yourself. And you can twist it however way you want it. I twist mine to the inside, so now you can see it has a nice little decorative little swirl to it, and finish it off. So this is the sign, and how I chose to finish it off. You can trim these if they're a little bit long. You can trim them. This one looks a little longer to me on this side. You can cut them at an angle. I just cut mine straight, but you can certainly cut them at an angle. And then it has a nice little bell. And what you can do with these is you can hang them on your door. You can actually hang these signs on, like I do. I hang them, make them and hang them on my Christmas tree. It just depends on what your sign says. It can be, again, you can do this with with wooden and metal. This happens to be a metal one. You can put them in wreaths. They just have a decorative handle to them, which I love that idea too. So there's all different ways you can use these signs. You can hang them from a door in your house, like in a guest door. A guest room. This would be a lovely idea. You could either take a wreath hook and put it over your door and hang it from there for your guests to see, and just say, or your children if you have family visiting, and it's just a nice little cute little thing to enter into their room that they're going to be staying in. And you know, this is a little larger one, so it'd be hard to go on to the doorknob. But if you had one that was like way smaller and a little longer, you could certainly hang that from your doorway. So I just want to quickly show you that you don't have to use these bells, but you can. And I have these bells came from another craft store, but they have smaller bells at Dollar Tree that you can use. You don't have to use the bells. I found these at Dollar Tree, so they are really cute. These are perfect because they have a little hole already made. And if you wanted to do it natural or paint it the color to match your sign, you know, or a metallic would be pretty. White, you know, just white is for snowflake. So I also picked these up at a different craft store, and they're a little smaller scale than the ones from Dollar Tree. But again, these are cute ones to use too. And you can, you know, this one already has a hole in it. These do not, so my suggestion is if you don't have the ones that have a hole, don't have a hole in it, you could possibly try going through the center and doing that. I mean, there's different options, or just hot gluing it, but I personally like the ones that you can string the hole through. So that's why these are kind of cute, because they have a hole already made for you and you don't have to try to cut a hole. So that is the project for today. I'm going to be making another one, probably a fall related one, sometime this week. So I'll be glad to share that project with you as well. But I want to thank you for joining me today with Sweet Tea Makery. And if you have any questions about these projects or comments, please do comment below and put your questions there, and I'd be glad to try to help you answer them the best that I can. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel by hitting the red button and the bell. The bell is the one that gets you notification when I go live or when I upload some new content and fun projects. I thank you for being here today. I hope you have fun with this project and you're able to use it. I'd love to see photos of that. You can share them over at my Facebook page. It's Sweet Tea Makery. And I'd love to see those there, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any men following. But I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you again soon. Happy crafting. Bye.